Hello and welcome to the channel on this fairly hot eve of Australia Day. It's been a warm day today and I've got a beer and I may have to wear my glasses. We'll see how we go. So as promised, I'm going to do a video tonight regarding the removal of seats from the Jackaroo. Now, I'm not saying that you will have the same problems, especially if you don't live in Victoria. But the problems that I had lasted nearly 2.5 years, and finally today I got it resolved. So in September 2020 I had a brilliant idea, excuse me, I'm just going to put my glasses on. I had the brilliant idea to remove the rear seats from my four-wheel drive. Now I'd already taken the 2 kiddie seats out the back, so it was down to 5 seats, and it seemed like a no-brainer to get more usable space in the back. I went to the VIC Roads website to find information, and this is what I found. I will talk us through it. It says, removing seats. Note, different states, territories and indeed countries will have different rules for this. Please ensure that you look at your country, state or territory's rules before proceeding with seat removal. That's my disclaimer. It doesn't say that on the VIC Roads website. It says removing seats. The requirements for removing seats will vary upon the gross vehicle mass of the vehicle. Makes no sense. The original number of seating positions, the new number of seating positions, which seats are removed, when the vehicle was manufactured. And then it says check the table below to determine whether you require an approval certificate. And then it says this table is applicable to light vehicles with a gross vehicle mass up to 4.5 tonne. That's us. All vehicles with a GVM over 4.5 tonne will require a VAS approval certificate for any seating changes. Now, we don't need a VAS approval certificate, so that's great. So let's look at the chart. It says original number of seating positions. Well, there's 1 to 9, 10 to 12, more than 12. So we obviously come into category 1 to 9. Okay. So number of seating positions reduced to 2 to 3, 4 to 9, 10 to 12, 13 or more. So ours is going to be 1 to 9 of the original number of seating positions and 2 to 3 in the number of seating positions reduced to. So then it says approval certificate not required. Okay. Now it says please contact VIC Roads if the vehicle is not described above or if you require further information. It also says an approval certificate is not required for reducing the number of seats on a vehicle built before 1971. Then it explains what vehicles would need seating VAS approval certificates. And then it will say if a modification is not listed above, a VAS certificate is required and you will need to advise VIC Roads of this change. So it doesn't say anything about advising VIC Roads, it doesn't say anything about inspecting vehicles. So I'd seen this and I'd read it and I thought, well, I'm okay to go ahead and just remove the seats. And then it was around this time that I found Tim Bates's 4-wheel drive video on removing seats, and I'll link to that video in the description below. This video made me decide to go ahead, and Tim's advice was great. I wanted to be legal and do the right thing, so I removed the seats, removed the seat belts and took the car to VIC Roads and had it inspected. So if you watch Tim's video, he said he took his seats out and took it down for inspection after he called them and they said, no, we need to see it, and then do an inspection. And it didn't say that on the website, but anyway. So I went down and had it inspected. And VIC Roads were actually looking to see if the seat belts that were there for the seats that had been removed had been removed. And I was pleased to say that yes, they were happy with what I'd done, and they gave me a certificate. I didn't have to pay anything, and on the certificate that they gave me, it said that it was a 2000 Holden Jackaroo S-wagon, S-Wag, VJ Light Vehicle 3. There was no fee to pay, and I thought I was done with the classification. I thought, as Tim had pointed out, there would be a TAC reduction in the registration. He seemed to think he got about $60 a year off his rego. But that never seemed to happen for me. This is where the problem starts, and now I now know that Dandenong VIC Roads had reclassified my vehicle incorrectly, and they did not reduce the number of seats they should have, as they should have. Now, my argument has been all along that they are the experts, and I am the consumer. Who am I to question their expertise? After all, they are the regulating government body for Victoria. When the registration amount didn't go down, I questioned this by contacting VIC Roads, and this is where everything goes to pieces, really. It turned out that VIC Roads is full of people who have no idea about their policies and rules, and because I got so many conflicting responses, it wasn't funny. So I'm going to give you a bit of a story timeline. It might find it a bit boring, you might want to skip ahead. On the 17th of August 2020, I get a registration renewal notice for $197.45. I paid my registration quarterly. I wasn't working at the time, and this is why. On the 19th of October 2020, having removed the seats, I visit Pakenham VIC Roads to get my vehicle inspected. Pakenham VIC Roads don't inspect vehicles, so they suggested Dandenong or Warragul. Well, I went to Dandenong. The next day I rocked up at Dandenong VIC Roads, and after a lengthy wait, they tell me to bring my car to the inspection bay. They inspect the car and tell me that it is fine and issue me the registration certificate. So on the 1st of November 2020, I get a registration renewal notice of $197.45, same amount. I decided to wait, as these are government organisations and they don't do things quickly. On the 24th of Jan 21, 3 months later, I get another renewal for $197.45, which is due by the 20th of March. And I'm thinking, well, it still hasn't gone down. So I contact VIC Roads on the 10th of March and ask about the reduction in the registration. I'm given a reference number and I wait. Now, having paid, on the 2nd of May 21, having paid the March registration fee, I get yet another notice to pay my registration of $197.45 for May or June, something like that. 1st of August, I get another renewal notice, now for $200.23. Still no response, and I remind them of my inquiry. On the 1st of October 21, now a year later, I get another renewal notice for $200.23. These are on-time renewal notices, and I remind them again that I have had no response to my inquiry. The 30th of Jan 2022, I get yet another renewal notice for $200.23. Still no response, and I remind them again of my inquiry. 1st of May 2022, I receive a response. First of May 2022, I get another renewal notice for the same amount, and I remind them again about my response, but no response to my inquiry. 24th of June 2022, a year and a half later, I receive a response. No apology, after sending and calling several messages from VIC Roads, which states that they are missing some information as follows. They need my full name, my date of birth, my current address, my license number, and my email address. The message they are responding to, which I sent on the 10th of March 2021, over 1 year earlier, contains my full name, current address, and they sent me this via my email address. All that was missing was my date of birth and my license number, and if they've got my rego, my VIN number, you'd think they'd be able to work that out, but anyway. So I sent this information to them the same day. On the 8th of August 2022, I received another renewal, now for $204.58. 17th of August 2022, I receive a response from VIC Roads that states my vehicle has been categorised the same as a sedan and there is no mention of seating modifications. They said that on the national database it states 2 seats, but as their system returned it as 4+ seating. They suggested that I go and get it inspected again. 11th of September 2022, as advised, I visit VIC Roads Dandenong and inquire about the issue. They tell me without inspecting the vehicle that they have never heard of a reduction in registration fees and advise me to contact the TAC, as they only collect money for them. The 12th of September 2022, I contact the TAC, whose response were my details were successfully submitted. 6th of November 2022, I receive another renewal notice for $204.58. 14th of November, I contacted the TAC and asked for a response as I hadn't heard anything. 14th of November 2022, TAC respond telling me I received my email. 8th of December 2022, I contacted the TAC and asked them for a response and stated that this was the 3rd time I had asked. 9th of December, I received a phone call from a very apologetic lady at TAC, and they tell me that they can't help as VIC Roads deal with it. They advise to contact my local council and get a councillor to take up on my behalf. Fantastic. So that's 2 government agencies that have fobbed me off. So I contact my local Casey council and ask for assistance on the 9th of December, same day. 12th of December, Casey council fobbed me off to a local state member of parliament, Jason Wood. I send a message to Jason Wood asking for assistance on the 12th of December. The 13th of December, I receive a response fobbing me off with some excuse about federal affairs. However, they advise that my local Liberal MP is fantastic and they will help. 13th of December 2022, I contact my local MP and ask for assistance. 14th of December 2022, I get a response from the MP's electorate officer, Ashley Wood, who is superb, the best person I've ever spoken to, and my new favourite person. On the 15th of December, I send further details and all of the paperwork I have to Ashley. The 25th of Jan, I receive an email from Ashley telling me that they are written to the Minister and they are awaiting a response. 25th of Feb 2023, I get a phone call from VIC Roads. That is today, by the way, this morning. And a very nice man called Leon has put everything straight. He has correctly reclassified my car as a wagon, as opposed to an S-wagon. This reclassifies it as a goods vehicle, which reduces the car from 72 seats, and I will receive a refund from VIC Roads for the amount overpaid for over 2 years. So, I first decide to take the seats out of my car on the 17th of August 2020. I actually get it inspected on the 19th of October 2020. On the 25th of February 2023, 2 years and 4 months later, I get a phone call resolving this issue. I've had VIC Roads, the TAC, my local council, an MP from the government and my local MP all involved, and it wasn't until my local MP wrote to the MP in charge of VIC Roads that I got a result. But finally I got the result that I wanted. I'm still yet to receive anything, but at least I know now that my car's been reclassified. Okay, so the lessons learned and what should you do if you want to remove your seats. So, if you're going to remove seats, you need to get VIC Roads to inspect the car and change the details on your classification, This is important because and you must get them to inspect the car, and I'll tell you now what they're looking for is for you to have removed any excessive seat belts. Now, you might find that this is a bit odd, But if you think about it, if you remove seats from your car and the TAC think you've only got 2 seats, and then you think, oh, I've got to take a couple of mates somewhere, and you put the seats back in temporarily and you have an accident, the TAC won't cover the person the additional seat in. So you can understand why it needs to be correct at the government. You don't expect VIC Roads to be a complete, but well, you do, but that's by the by. So they'll inspect the car, and if the seat belts have been removed, so what I did, I removed the seat belt mounts because they're unboltable, the bit you click your belt into, but the belt itself I fed back into the wall of the car, and then it's in there. I took it off, fed it in, put it back on again. So the seat belts are still there. The one that's in the middle has been removed because it's just bolted in, and that's fine. So I now have a fully classified 2-seater. You need to take the seats out, you need to put the bolts back into the holes, because I believe the holes go right through the floor and you will let water in, so put the bolts back in. Now, when you go to VIC Roads and they inspect your car, you need to make sure that they reclassify your car correctly. So what you need to say to them, ask them, is what will my car be reclassified as, and what will the number of seats be listed as. So what you need is your car doesn't want to be an S-Wagon, an S-Wag, it wants to be just a WAG with 2 seats. It turns it into a commercial vehicle, reduces your registration fee. Okay, so that's what you need to do, and good luck is all I can say. I hope it doesn't take you 2.5 years like it's taken me, and involvement of MPs and all sorts of stuff. But I see that as a victory. However, it's a bit of a hollow victory because I know that the next person to go to VIC Roads is going to just struggle with the same thing. But at least now I can warn you guys of it, and hopefully you will be able to remove your seats and get your car reclassified if that's what you want to do. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope it's helped you, and I hope to see you out there. Bye everybody.